What up? It's another nice day. It's not raining. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but the squirrel's mad. Anyway, this video is on how to connect a DCC system to Bachmann EZ. There's quite a few out there, and I'll go over the one I chose and how I wired it into the EZ and about the DCC system itself. Alright, I'm over here where my command station is, and booster and whatnot. You can see these wires coming up from that going to the shelf above. I did 4 power districts. Basically, each wall is its own district, and like I've mentioned in other videos, I put a insulating rail joiners in my curves. So like right up here, all these curves that set this front track, which is a spur or whatever, it doesn't have any, but all the others do. So I wired a bus in. I went with a white as rail A, with rail A being the closest one to me, and then black being rail B. That way, since my layout's a shelf layout on my outer wall, I'm always facing rail A and then rail B no matter what. So I'm on my 3rd edition of my shelf layout. The original one, I did a lot of track soldering, like you can see some of it there, and then suitcase connectors connected into a lot of spots on my bus wire. You can see a big one there, and you can see the ones hanging down with the Wagos on the end. Those are from the original wiring, and then in later the later layouts or design of the layout, I haven't used all of them. I've gone to trying to reuse sections of track that I soldered like that to connect like that. You can see the Wagos coming, or the wires coming down and connecting to the Wagos. That's my drop or feeders going up to the tracks above. I also have, like, I think they're the Atlas rail joiners with the wire. I use those in a number of spots. The only issue with those is you got to be careful with since they're both the same color wire. Since I have my command station in this corner, these first 2 pairs of wires, one going left, one going right, they are extensions down to the north wall and the east wall. And then in the back, you can see, if you can see that, the other pair of wires, that's for the south wall and this west wall being this one. I have a PM74 as a circuit breaker. I'll talk more about that here in a sec with the Digitrax system. But that's basically the gist of my wiring. Besides that, I have the DCC plugged into this power strip surge protector that goes to the outlet on the floor, and then I had another one because I needed some more, and then out of these you can see it there and one there, I have indoor extension cords. You can see one hanging back there, ran around the walls underneath the layout that I have my stationary decoders, my DS64s and 74s plugged in. That way, when I throw that, I turn that power strip on and it powers up my layout. And I also have a light, and I don't know where this came from, but I had it. I have that on the power strip, so when this light is on, I know my layout is on. So that's kind of a security check to not leaving the layout on. But these indoor power cords are going around the layout with only the stationary decoders plugged into them, so that they turn off when I turn the layout. I'm talking about like these things. Here's a 64 and a 74. Anyway, let's talk about DCC. I first learned of DCC, I think, in the mid 2000s when I made a shelf layout going around the top of a room, which was like a bedroom converted into a computer room. And I ended up with my a bunch of my train sets that I had from when I was a kid, and then some Hawthorne Village sets that were given to me based on being uh, two things that I did in life. So I wanted to get those going. I had a bunch of the CG track, bridged the gaps, figured out how to do it, and had a shelf layout running around the top of the room as um, DC at the time. I think I put in some sidings to park trains and then was able to isolate the power. It wasn't until probably around 2013 that I started probably planning on doing DCC and got more into it and started researching the different companies. And I ended up going with Digitrax based on what I wanted to do at that time. Of course, that kind of changed over time, and I haven't quite done everything that I could do with Digitrax. I've mentioned it before. I think I mentioned it before. Originally, I was going to have switches on the fascia to control the turnouts, and then have the stationary decoders. But using Easy Track, there's no point because the switches have the manual throw built onto them. So I'm not doing that. I'm not doing any type of signaling or anything. So there's a good bit of components that I'm not, or capability I'm not using. Well, in between the time I decided I wanted to use Digitrax and up until I think I got the first system in 2023, Digitrax came out with the Evolution series. I can't remember what the one that was before it, but either way, I bought the starter kit, which was the DCS 210 Plus with the wireless throttle, the PR93, and of course that PM74 was extra. I got that going, had no problems. Up and through social media, I found out I had one of the 210 Pluses that had the wrong size barrel connection for the power port right here. I was able to get the adapter and didn't really have any issues. I don't know if I was having much issue when I figured out that I had, or my 210 Plus had the wrong power connection for the power supply. Well, the 210 you can see is sitting in front of you because mine died. I was running the layout. I went downstairs to help one of my children. I turned off track power but left the system on. Came back, tried to start running trains, and nothing. Through some like Digitrax sort of tech support that's live, it was determined something was wrong with it. I sent it to Digitrax. They said the whole thing was fried, and they sent it back. And of course, I was at 13 months, so they didn't want to honor their warranty. So that's one of my biggest complaints that I'll go ahead and put out there with Digitrax is, if you have a problem and you send it in, good luck. It's a roll of the dice, and you get to meet Brenda, who is not fun to deal with. There's nobody else you see or can talk to. But on the flip side, I've had good luck with how this system works, and not being too crazy to install and operate. Their instructions aren't the greatest, but you can find like community support in like Facebook groups and stuff to help overcome that. So after this died, I got the 240 Plus there with some help. I got that for about $199, I think it was. They retailed for a lot more, but that's brand new. I've also added the UT6D throttle just to have one. This is the or the DT602D. I probably said that wrong, but anyway, these are the wireless throttles, not infrared, but like radio wireless. They work pretty good. They can have problems. You can send them in and get worked on. A lot of people don't know Digitrax is made in Florida, and the way it was explained to me is part of the year they build the stuff, and the other part of the year they fix warranty claims and stuff. So depending on what part of the year it is, depends on, I guess, how good the customer service is. Because if it's the time of the year to fix stuff, then it was explained that customer service tends to be better and more apt to fix things versus when it's time to build these. But so these are built in the USA. The one other component I have is this auto reverser. I think it's an AR1 by Digitrax. Obviously mine's just kind of sitting up here. It's user adjustable. So you run the train through your auto reversing area and wait for this thing to click. If your command station or your circuit breakers are clicking before this, then you gotta adjust it. And then you need to adjust it for what the largest group of power that you're gonna run through your Y. So like a consist of 2 or 3 engines. But so far so good on this. You can connect it into the local net, or it can sit here and function like it is now. Something else I thought of, my PM74, that right there. I think it has issues. It was connected to LocoNet, and then I had a LocoNet issue, and then determined that LocoNet wasn't going through that like it should, and so I bypassed it. It still seems to work like it's supposed to as a power management or a circuit breaker. I would probably go with those in. I can't remember the brand. They're like a little standalone board that you can wire inline. We have them at my club. And I can't remember the name of them, but they seem to work a lot better. Almost too good. They're pretty quick. We had some auto reversers at the club that you couldn't adjust, and the auto reversers would work, but sometimes the circuit breaker would kick in faster than the auto reverser, so it would cause issues. But that's kind of how to hook this up. You could probably find a lot of videos online about how to operate the Digitrax system. I know the Bachmann makes their little command station, but from what I know of it, it's really limited in the amount of functions you can add. So like you can have only a handful of switches with addresses for that. So I think it would be only really good for using the Bachmann system for a really small layout, like a 8x4 sheet of plywood. If you have anything bigger than that, you are going to outgrow that system really, really quick. I looked at NCE and I did like their design. I wasn't sure if they could have done all the functions or had all the components to do all the stuff I wanted originally. I think they do. But over the course of years, they had trouble keeping their stuff in stock because it's built overseas. So that was another thing. I could always get online and search for a Digitrax component and then be able to shop around and find it for the best price. And most of the time, I would be able to find it that way. With every once in a while it being out of stock. But anyway, that's pretty much one way to add DCC to your layout with EZTrack. You got options. You just need to figure out what best works for you and the design you're going with. Take your time. Keep your wires straight so you don't reverse the streams and cause shorts. And go from there. And a more modern system will give you a lot more capability. From channels I follow, a lot of people are going to Loke Sound and based on what it can do, and I really like Loke Sound. It's just I'm not doing anything at the moment that I need all that capability, and of course I already have this, so I'm not trying to upgrade. But anything else? Yeah, I bought the kit, or bought the tools, and made my own LocoNet wiring. So it's basically like 6 cable phone line. I wish I'd have got the flat wire, because it's the colors and the smaller wires inside the cable stay the same, and it would have made it easier than to make the cable, because this is, I think, Cat 5 cable, so I had to cut out a pair of the wires and then put them in order, then put them in the tool and crimp the connector on. But it wasn't that bad. Being able to do that allowed me to make my custom length sections. I got 2 leftover sections here from rewiring the layout. Another thing I like about Digitrax, that I just remembered, I like how well or the ability to plug into the system, because the 210 Plus has a USB port in the front, and then I can connect that to a laptop or a computer and run JRMI. At one point I had my tablet with a panel on it and was throwing switches from building panels and creating a switch list. So that opens bigger possibilities, and the computer allowed me to use JRMI to do my programming track, which is that right there. I took the re-railer, or the powered re-railer, add two sections each in, the red cable that comes with them, and ran it into the command station there, and I had my programming track. Obviously you could do it a different way. It's just up to you and what you want. Because I'll speed match locomotives, and I'll have to take it down from up there and put here. And I've thought about putting an isolating section up here with a double on switch to be able to do it on the main, or have a section of the main. But I think I'm going to stick with this. Mainly it's just, for me, it's simpler and it keeps me from crossing wires. So anyway, this video is getting up there, so if you got any questions, leave them in the comments. Later.